to be heard. That's okay.
Okay. Hi, Jay.
Hey, you able to log in?
I just got back to the hotel. I'll be done in a second.
Okay,
All right.
great. All right, so
Good.
we're doing walls, we're going first, thank you.
Yeah, so we can just go in and out.
Jay, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, now
Yes.
I can. I couldn't a second ago.
Should I wait for Martin or to call the meeting to order? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna let Larry and Ray in
Okay.
just to.
Get the presentation up too.
Yeah, I have it on the
Perfect.
so I can get that up now. Well, I'll wait until they close that first. Come on. Hey, Larry G.
You said we're live already?
Yes.
Yep. So, yeah.
I don't know how specific you need to be,
Okay.
because, yeah, Jay may want to add on. Yeah, just minimize it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it right now. Ooh, why is... Okay, there we go.
All right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the October 12th Planning Commission meeting. We're going to call to order. Anyone have citizen comments on agenda items? Today, we're looking at the comprehensive plan update, and we're going to talk about zoning regulations for chickens. All right. In attendance, we have myself, Vice Chair of the Commission, Lexi Huber, and Martin Radigan. Do we have any announcements, Martin, from the commissioners?
I do not at this point, no.
Okay. Lexi, any announcements? Wade?
Just that we're being joined here by Niles Egg, and he's a new assistant manager, and he's going to be taking over a lot of the planning and zoning duties of the position, so.
Okay, great.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So we want to go over the approval of minutes from the September 14th, 2022 meeting. You weren't here, were you?
I was here.
Oh, okay.
I guess I will motion to approve the minutes from the September meeting. Oh. I motion to approve the minutes from September.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Minutes are approved. Let's go to old business. Let's start with the comprehensive plan update with Larry. If you're there, are you going to present a slideshow or screen share or?
I'm gonna share the plan here. And I'm gonna move it over, so just give me 1 second.
Thanks, Wade.
Sure, how you doing today?
Did you hit the
Not
share
bad.
button?
Actually, sorry I cannot be there. I guess one, I'm in Colorado, and two, I have COVID. So two reasons, unfortunately, not to be there, but I'm happy to be able to chime in virtually.
So they are able to see it. I'm gonna move it over the presentation. So the Zoom is able to see it, but we can't in the room, so just give me 1 second.
Sure, sure.
It wouldn't be a decent meeting if it didn't have a technical difficulty.
I'm just glad we can hear Martin.
Do you have your lap? We could pull it up on our,
Yeah.
I guess the Zoom on the laptops.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I just have to go off the share for a second. And then, because it's on the other one, so I'm gonna try to go over to here, and then, why isn't the menu of options coming? Is it doing it on this one? No, it's not. There should be that thing that drops down that says.
Yeah, you have to go to the Zoom window down at the bottom on the taskbar.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Hang on. Okay. Meeting controls. Why isn't it?
And if you want, I'm on Zoom like 24/7.
I know.
If you want help.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not. Let's try it on this one. Yeah, it's saying this.
Can you just, instead of duplicating screens, just make one screen?
Yeah, I can do that too.
Not extending. I meant instead of extending, do duplicate.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see where the controls went, because it's showing me the list of people, but not the meeting controls. So yeah, let me do that. I'll do the display. I'm gonna go here. And go all this, and then go display settings. And I'm gonna go okay.
And I think just duplicate will work.
Yeah.
Or duplicate. Just duplicate.
There we go. So now I have.
Oh, hit key. Yeah.
And then go to the meeting controls, which I think are there we go. It's the thing here. So I'm going to new share, and then go this, and go share, and there we go.
Hot dog.
There we go.
Nice. Definitely can
Hot
see it on
dog.
Zoom.
Yep. Yeah, so now we can see it in the room too, so thank you very much for your patience. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for setting it up.
Yep.
So next slide, please. Yeah, so I have a series of slides set up really that summarize our work session from last time we were together, and to briefly talk about next steps. But how much detail would you like me to go into? I have a summary, as you could see, planned to discuss that what we did together was create the outlines for the chapters, which chapters to have, and to have the outlines. We started working together on a vision statement, and I have a summary of what was important to you and a draft for that. That we are work in progress now together, working on the important foundational information, the mapping, the technical information that we want in front of us as we're writing this, right? Because we're telling a story and what we see from that. So the importance on our side to find best available sources, validate it with you, move forward, And then next steps, talk quickly about, frankly, just creating that schedule together and then tracking that together. So I could do that in 10 minutes, or I could go through, each slide with each chapter and spend a little bit more time. Completely up to you and what's best for you.
Yeah, I don't think we need to rehash what we've already talked about in the work session, really. You could skim over it. I think we kind of want to get into the meats of the vision statement and what we're putting together.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we were thinking the same thing. Just want to be sure, respectful to your interests. Yeah, so next slide, please. So here are a summary of the specific chapters that we agreed upon. And during the work session, we went through with a proposed set of items and then validated that and made modifications to each. And the next X amount of slides are a reflection of each of those. So what I could do is fairly quickly just roll through those and then get to the vision statement as you suggested. Make sense? Or any questions about this list before I go any further?
I don't have any
about
questions.
the pictures themselves.
No, but I'm curious about the order of the
Yeah, it has
chapters.
not been defined yet. Yeah, good question. We're do that together right now. Just those are the topics.
So this is a list, but not an ordered one. I got it.
Correct. Yeah, we're working on that together. Because I'm glad you said that, because we do want to flow to the document as well, right? So building upon each other. So here are the general components. Yeah, so next slide, please. Yeah, and just, again, no surprises, so I'll roll through these fairly quickly. Just the introductory chapter, which will include a town profile, and if it pleases you, also a summary of the outreach efforts from the events, the interviews, et cetera, all be summarized there, and then an appendix of more detail. Next slide, please. Community facilities, services, we discussed this at length in a good way, as well as bringing in the importance of what we heard from the stakeholder interviews, particularly Fair Access Committee, which highlighted this topic specifically. So we have all that in the notes and the specifics of what to start to detail there. In public safety, that's the public safety facilities, correct? Just I don't think that's clear enough there in the outline. Next slide, please.
We don't have any
Oh,
public
yeah.
safety facilities.
What's that?
I don't think we have any public safety facilities, do we?
No, but I think that there's been talks about a wellness, like this.
I think that's also fair
This is
access.
also goals.
Oh,
This is
okay,
not-
okay,
This is
okay.
not just what is existing.
It is.
Yeah.
This is goals.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
So facilities and services, but yes, but an identification potentially of facilities needs.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right. In the fine print are all the items we discussed added within transportation. One item that we discussed wasn't on the original list that we showed, amongst others, was the wayfinding. So we did note that. I think that will be shown as a strategy, right? Just as an example, the type of things where we have from goals, objectives, key issues, tying it back to quality of life and sustainability, and you can see the list. But then we'll start to bring those to the speed management type things and the wayfinding. We'll create a structure to this general list. Now will become a structure of from a goal and objective all the way to a strategy. Next slide, please. Yeah, and I think these are pretty self-explanatory and very important. Environmental resources, as an example, and glad you brought up the importance of connecting it with comments from the Sustainability Committee, as well as Poolsville Green, who we had not reached out to yet. So we will do that. And then you could see the list of other important items, such as EV charging was brought up, and that will include that here. Next slide, please. Yeah, you see the note in the heading, historic and cultural resources and potential to combine it with a profile. Not speaking out of maybe a suggestion is to keep it separate because just maybe more my personal opinion, just the value of the history and culture of this town. My opinion is it should be highlighted, but I don't want that to sway. Not a decision you have to make now, but just something that we had marked during the work session.
Personally, I think that as this is becoming a transition document from growth to, a sort of maintaining the identity of Poolsville, since we won't be growing as much in the future, I like the idea of keeping a historic and cultural section separate and just to continue to build on that, hopefully in the future. I do like that it is a separate section here.
Good. And let's come back to that comment when we get to the vision statement, because I like the way you phrase that and how does that convey to the culture of the town and how you sustain that over time is really the theme of what we were all trying to get to and what we tried to capture in that vision statement. Next slide, please. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. The municipal growth, economic development, bringing in the Chamber of Commerce testimony, but also understanding the public facility limitations versus vision and how that is optimized in your eyes. So I think an important chapter of how you see the town growing within its capacity. Next slide, please. Yeah, the next two, we pretty much just validated the housing and land use, just the long and important lists within each of these. I don't know that we need to go through these because we did so in the work session, but it's been documented. Next slide, land use. And then as we get into the writing to really look into the items such as the need for additional zoning work, as well as just for this document, guidance for your town center area.
Hey, Larry, just real quick, we did change,
Yeah.
there used to be a CBD, but the CBD was actually combined with the general commercial, so there is no CBD any longer. I know all the old maps showed it, but that was
No,
part of
that-
our rezoning.
Yeah, that's good to hear, as I get more and more involved with the town here, just as far as because of our discussions about the mix of uses as well, as opposed to central business district, more of an activity center for people to gather. True. And live and work and play. Is that a fair summary?
Yes.
I mean, it is, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, so we'll remove that reference. Okay, next slide, please. Certainly water resources will have a chapter and you can see here the components of which. Next, please. All right, so if you're ready, we'll go through a summary of the visioning statement exercise that we did together. What you see before you is the list of topics that came up in our discussion, just scribed there. So what we did is we took those and said, okay, now how do we capture all of that in 2 sentences, right? So without question, it's a starting point, not an ending. But we'll show you the statement from past and now first cut at the new one, and we can work from there. Either if you have time, we can look at it tonight, and if not, we can distribute it for your ideas. I would say most importantly, if we could, is once we take a look at it, to go back to this list that you see and say which of these components that we listed that are missing do you still feel are important enough for us to bring back into it. So impossible to capture everything by word, but we try to by intent anyway. So yeah, next slide, please.
Yeah, so your question, I would just distribute it, since we have two people missing today.
Yeah, I want to hear it, but I think I'll reserve comments.
Yeah,
this time.
yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Lexi's comment.
I think I would like to hear the statement, the proposed statement, but since we're missing so many, I think I would like to just sit on it, so maybe I will reserve my comments regarding it at this time.
Perfect. Yeah, this is, I think, is it fair to say, one of those things we want to get started now, but we have the entire time of developing the document to finalize it. And as we're working together too, it hopefully will help us create a structure of what's in here that conveys to chapter goals, that conveys all the way through the document as well. So that parallel tie-in is important too. But I think just having where we are now and those what's important to you that we captured last time in that list really helps. So here's our first cut. So do you want me to read this to you, or you want to read it yourself? What's easiest? Just give you a minute.
Yeah, I think we can all. I do want to point out I took a class for a Maryland State Arts grant, because I was thinking about writing a grant for Poolsville Day to get a grant, because we have music and bands and arts. Anyways, they start the meeting with talking about recognizing our history and talking about indigenous people and all that stuff. And it seemed like that's kind of the thing Maryland wants us to do, is incorporate that into our documents. I don't know if that would go here or in the history part. Like, instead of just talking about history from John Poole going forward, talk about it from, indigenous people up through, including John Poole. Then, in the past, I think we've just started. Poolsville was founded by John Poole in 1718, whatever. I think now we need to change the history document so that we're inclusive of its total history of this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so ensure a history reference here, and it sounds like we're in agreement to have a separate chapter on it, which will give us opportunity to expand history and culture.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, there are some definitely things in the proposed one that I like a lot. I want to sit with it, though, until the next meeting.
Did he hear you?
I don't know.
Did you hear Lexi?
Only partially. Sorry.
Oh.
There are definitely some parts that I like in the new proposed statement, but I'd like to sit with it until the next meeting and allow for everyone to have a look at it.
Good. Yeah, it seems that it aligned with the way you phrased the importance of keeping that history chapter, just that, hey, first things, strives to preserve what you have, right? And whether it's resources, history, the culture, and then now you want to continue to build on the following things. So structurally, if at a first cut, that was our attempt. And yeah, let's take the time it needs to find the right words.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, to keep moving?
Yeah, yes, please.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so just to close out, we've taken the information from the work session, obviously a lot more than what's in these slides, accumulated them into notes, which are now into chapter notes, right? And we'll start, I think, for me, it's just to be sure that we have all the right component. Now that we have the chapters, we have the right components, and working together on the structure of those chapters and get the agreement of how we, is it goals, objectives, strategies, actions type of thing, just that. I think those are our next steps for us to draft some examples for you as we're writing content in parallel to that, taking that. Also, the importance, it's just a great takeaway from meeting with you in the work session was the starting resources for the mapping is a base, but it's not the final. That you have some information, there may be some field information necessary. I think, Lexi, you had brought up some really good points about the sidewalk network. When you get it from the county, that's a county perspective. I don't know how often it's updated. You may have a better source and get a review, and that's the QC, the quality control on every one of these sooner rather than later, so we can look at it, make conclusions and next steps from what we see from the information. So kicking that off, moving that forward, and then Ray will be producing a delivery schedule for you, as he promised in our last meeting, so we can use that as our tracking system. So everything we just discussed, how is that tracking forward to a delivery date that Ray's best to give based on his comments last time, and in other outreach work sessions with us together, as well as any other touch points with the public that we've scoped together, should all be in that delivery schedule, and the timing of those in sync together, I think, is really important. So that's what's coming next. I'll coordinate that with Ray and get that to you as soon as possible.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Any questions for me?
Lexi?
I'm good.
No, I think we're good. Thank you very much for the update and the continued hard work on this project, the good hard work, and appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Well, you got to thank you for the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Ready? All right, so next on the agenda is old business zoning regulation chickens. Do you have anything you wanted to say before I?
I mean, I don't think we need to have another conversation.
No.
We've had 4.
Yep.
Let me jump in here for you, because I've been letting Jay know, kind of the direction that this might go tonight.
Uh-huh.
And Jay, do you want to jump in here and give any advice on as far as a motion goes?
There we go. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can.
So, as you know, you guys are like a recommending authority to the commissioners, and because it's of zoning, that's what gets you involved in this. So tonight, if after you discuss it, if you say, yeah, this should be changed, you should probably make a motion that you're recommending the change. If the change, my understanding, is to repeal, then you should say we're recommending that it be repealed. And then I would think the second part of your motion would be what your suggestion is to have it replaced with. I know there's a plan that's been discussed, but that then narrows it down for the commissioners as to what to do. After you do your thing, if it happens tonight, then the commissioners will have to go through it just as if they were adopting a zoning ordinance. It's the opposite. They're getting rid of a zoning ordinance, but it's the still same process. So it'll require an introduction, a public hearing, and then a vote, probably over a 2-month period. So, got any questions? Be happy to help.
So, my thought is, the town doesn't get into the business of monitoring dogs, cats, rabbits, blah, 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 blah. Kind of want to do the same thing with chickens. And my idea was just striking that section in the code that specifically mentions chickens and just simply recommending we remove that from our current code. Does that make sense? Not replacing it with anything, just simply striking that line.
Yeah, that would be, I guess, and Wade can talk more about it. That would be step one that basically is your jurisdiction. Take it out of the zoning ordinance, strike that line. But I think we're going to have to adopt the county provision, or maybe it's already adopted and now it'll apply, but we'd at least need to look at that. Just my point to you is that we need to make sure when the commissioners get it, it gets off your plate, but the commissioners know exactly what they need to do. And I think that was your intent, was that the county regulations would apply and they would do the enforcement.
Yes.
So that's correct. It's animal control is with the police, and it's chapter 19 of the county code. We have adopted it. I will verify and get those exact parts to pass on to the commissioners when we do take this to them, so that everything's in line.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's what I think we want. So like when I read other towns, it just references, on the town's FAQ, are chickens allowed? And they just say, see Montgomery County Code, blah, 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 which addresses the allowance of chickens. And then they have the code and the requirements and all that. We don't have to recreate that whole wheel. So with that said, I'll make a motion that we recommend to the commissioners a repeal of a specific line item in the current code addressing animal boarding places, or the keeping of farm animals and/or birds of any kind. So again, we are recommending repeal of the line item in the current code for animal boarding
I
places.
second that motion, Kevin.
All right, thank you. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, the motion passes 3-0 with 2 absent. So then you do some work and then bring it to the commissioners, is that right?
That's correct. J and L carry the ball from here.
Okay. Any other items? Do I hear a motion?
I motion that we end the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Martin, for jumping on.
Thank you,
Yeah,
and it was
thanks,
so
all.
nice having you in our meeting.
Thank you very much.